Everyone, and welcome back to this episode of In Lay Terms. I'm your host, Payman Ascari, and today we have a guest from all the way over on the East Coast, Mr. Darcy DeCaluwe. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you, Payman. Thanks for having me.
Darcy, right off the bat, I wanted to thank you so much for coming out. And the guests are going to understand what this means by the end of the show, but I think you're demonstrating a lot of courage. And you're speaking out in defense of what I say is hundreds of thousands of other Canadians that have gone through what you've gone through. So with that, I'm going to turn it around to you, sir. And why don't you tell us what happened to you and your business?
Well, this is something that's been going on for a while. Basically what it was I own a small construction company in London, Ontario, and I was unionized. My labor was unionized, and it wasn't just that my staff, like say the 9 to 15 guys, that I had employed through the summer. It's always a little bit more as we use students and co-op students, and we had full-time guys. We had all kinds of different types of employment. We were doing a job in London, Ontario. It's a large project, actually. It was a number of phases. And after we had learned how these phases work, we started to just figure out a way to be as efficient as possible so we could make as much money as possible. And we used an employment agency to fill the positions needed at this particular project. So that project, we were a subcontractor to a general contractor. I think it was the seventh phase, and we had no problems for the first six phases. It was the seventh phase that on a Friday afternoon, I got back to my yard, my shop, my office, and realized that my shop door had been ajar, and just pushed up a little bit. We'd kept the gates open and at our yard because we had people coming and going because we rented some space out of that yard. And we realized I opened up the office and just seen what was going on with the door and realized that there was some paperwork I didn't understand. I didn't have a clue about it. It was a Friday afternoon. Again, let's get that straight because this comes up later in the story. We got some information on what this was, and it was that my labor was being unionized. All right. So again, I don't know about that. Now I've heard again prior to me being unionized, I had friends, I had guys in the same kind of industry, landscape, hardscape industry. I guess I should have made that clear what it was. We're more of a hardscape contractor, more like brick, pavers, retaining walls. But mostly you would call us a landscaping company. Like that's kind of what the government looks at us as. Insurance companies, that's what they kind of look at. Anyway, I realized that, again, my labor was being unionized. I laughed at it because I said, "What, they can't unionize my labor because I was using staff provided to me from an employment agency." So think about that for a second. This wasn't my staff. This was an employment agency staff working part-time 2 to 3 days a week at this project we were working at. And the reason I was using the staff was because it took away from other jobs we were doing where we need full staff and my guys doing the job, rather than this staff, which was just more of the labor was not necessarily, it was a part-time position. So I thought it would be more efficient to do it this way. Again, we were working alongside other unionized laborers though, as well. We all knew that wasn't the issue because there wasn't a problem the prior 6 phases to this job. So back to the paperwork under my door. I went next. The company I work for, I actually rent space from them. We did numerous jobs together, numerous commercial work together. Again, them being a larger contracting company, laborers, cement work. They did a lot of They did a lot of pipe and precast, like bigger work, and they're obviously a unionized laborer company. So didn't know what was going on, so I went across. I went to their office and I asked their one of the owners, like, what's going on here, because he actually does sit on a board of general contractors that do deals with laborers with the laborers union on what payment, how much they get paid, and all this stuff. Anyway, he just said, "Yeah, you're being unionized." So right away, I called a lawyer. I called a lawyer here in London, and they said, "Yeah, no, we'll look at we'll look into everything for you." And I, obviously, you got to set up a retainer. So we sent them a lot of money to set up a retainer, and sent the paperwork over, because they've done this before in the past. Other companies, it's the same thing. They made it sound to me that yeah, this is something we can work on. And I explained my situation, that it was actually through an employment agency, that these aren't even my guys. These aren't the guys that helped build the company, never unionized the company, all that stuff, whatever. So sit down, go to the office, and lots of phone calls, because again, I might not be completely 100% on this, but they need to have an answer by the Monday, like that Monday. So what you do, the lawyer calls over the union, and the union gives you like a week to, because they now recognize that you've got the paperwork in your hands. You're now down the path of getting lawyers. This is exactly what they want. They want to break you. This is all exactly the process. All right. And I found this out after, like, this is how it goes. So anyway, and again, just I'm gonna keep reminding everyone that might watch this podcast, is that these two gentlemen, great young men, like, they're nothing, like, I don't have nothing bad to say about these young men at all. And I'll get into this later on later on the show, but I'm not blaming them at all, and not one bit. These are just guys trying to, make money, and, they're working for an agency, not me. My wife and I, after payroll, tax, everything else, we pay the agency the money. All right. Now, what the agency pays them, I don't know. I didn't care. That's the deal. So anyway, the agency, I contacted the agency, and I said, your guys, just to let you know, I don't need your guys next week, because they unionized my labor, and shock, obviously shock. What? Oh, well, you got to be kidding me. Oh, yeah, right. Anyway, no big deal. We were able to meet with the union, because I wanted to meet with the union. I wanted to see what this is all about. And I went with my lawyer. My lawyer was attended the meeting, obviously with me being retained, and because I wanted to find out what was going on. And the whole time I thought that, okay, there's no way, right? We're going to go have this meeting, and they're going to say, oh, we didn't realize they're from an agency. We didn't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I just said, you realize, and my first question was, you realize these guys are from an agency. They don't belong to me, right? Oh, no. No, they said. No, and again, they did set, they were, the lawyer was sitting, their lawyer was sitting with them, as my lawyer was sitting with me, and basically stated out that while these two young men were under my authority for a 12-hour period, or for that day, they are working for you, not the agency they came from. They're working for you. And I said, well, no, because we're paying their wages and their hours to the agency. And hence that's why I retained a lawyer. If the lawyer could have told me right away, right on the phone, he's had this before, no problem, you're doomed. You're done. Just shut your business down, whatever you want to do. But you have to understand what laborize you, like your labor when it's unionized, what it makes you do is it makes you uncompetitive. Like, they're going to tell you something different. But as I said to them in the meeting, if unions were so good, why isn't there a lineup outside your door? And there's guys like me. Why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you come to me direct? Why didn't you come knock on my door one day or set up a meeting and say, hey, listen, this is what we can provide to you and make your life, make your life easy. Now, I don't know if you're, and again, different provinces are different. I don't know. Like, I don't know the game. I'm just talking about Ontario. So first, then so you find out that, okay, yeah, you could be unionized by using even these employment agencies. Okay, well, then I guess you can. Those are the laws. So hence I write a letter to the Minister of Labor. I've got it right here. I can show it to you. I can send it to anybody. I mean, we sent it because at first you just kind of say, like, what the heck is going on? But then you just kind of a few sets off, and you just say, you know what? I'm going to start writing letters to the ministry because I want to know what's going on. Do other small business owners know that these laws exist, to basically put you out of business? Back to unionization. And
can I stop? That was just a lot of information.
Sure it is. I know it's a lot.
I just wanted to recap it for the audience. So there is presumably a law, federal or provincial, that says after X percentage of your employees are union members, you are considered a unionized business.
No. It doesn't matter. You could have two full-time employees, 51, and again, if I get this straight, it's 51% of the vote, but your employees are supposed to have a vote on it. Well, these guys weren't my employees. These guys came from an employment agency, a labor's employment agency. And this is what makes the whole thing ridiculous. And this is why I even retained a lawyer, because I thought these guys don't even know they just unionized an employment agency. They didn't unionize me because they don't belong to me. They were working on site for me, but then there was a little bit of a scribble down at some law, some whatever it is, some Ontario, back in the Win McGuinty years, they scribbled down some stuff to make some big unions happy that they could go and sign anybody, even from an employment agency, as long as they're under. I mean, my kid, his friend, and his friend, working on my driveway one Sunday afternoon. I mean, basically what they're saying is if a union stopped by because they've been looking at my company to recruit, and that's what they're doing. They've got underground recruiters, they call them, that sneak around, watch if they find that you're bidding work with companies that have union labor. And again, this is what I hear, and I'm trying to be open and honest about everything. Is they have recruiters that go around and they give their cards and say, hey, listen, to make your life better, why don't you come see me and we'll get you some more money. You come work for, come work. Yeah, you don't have to change your company because we're just going to make your company pay you more what you're worth. So these guys get all taken out. They get taken out for dinner. This is what I've heard. I have close friends. This is what happens. And they just get taken they get bought dinner. They get a couple of beers, whatever it may be. And they say, okay, just sign right here after they say, hey, listen, your life's not going to change. But meanwhile, I thought, no problem. If it was my guys, all 15 guys, well, yeah, 15 guys, you got 10 guys, you need 6 guys voting for a union, 4 guys that don't, or whatever it may be. And again, the bottom line is every business is different. Our business is seasonal, and we bid commercial work, high-end residential work, small residential work, whatever pays the bills. That's what we do. So the unions think that you're some small business multi-millionaire company that they can that you can afford to pay all your guys what they demand. Well, the problem is there's companies that get unionized that they just shut their construction part down. They may they don't touch agriculture, they don't touch lawn cutting because they know that all this other stuff. But when you're into big work like sewer main, and you're doing, and all we're really doing is the landscaping on the edges, on the behind the curbs, we call it, some retaining wall work, some paver work. Well, this is who they've been going after. They've been going after small business, because what they do is they grab your laborers, and they don't care if you go out of business or not. Like, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think they want you to go out of business, because they just want you to pay them so those guys can pay union dues. And that's just kind of the way it is. Like, that's what I really believe. Those guys now are their guys. They've stolen. It's no different than it's no different in a sense that your competition, like, if you're not paying your guys enough, they go to the competition. If the competition wants to pay them more, they might train under you. And you've already got your top guys in place, and there's no way that they're going to get ahead. So they go join another company, and another company growing. They just call that snatching other people's guys, that's business. That's business. That's not. I can still operate my business, go out and get some more kids from the college or whatever. Yeah, I'm saying that's business. The problem is with these guys. No, they demand now that this is what you got to pay. So now you have to start looking elsewhere. If there's not enough work in London, you got to start traveling around Ontario. And they say, oh, there's a project in frickin' Timbuktu, and it's union, it's ISI or whatever they call it. There's all these different terminologies. You work for PCL, Ellis Don, all these big guys. Well, they use union companies. Well, I never bid those jobs. I didn't give a shit about those jobs. You know what I mean? I just kind of bid where, or high-end residential and a couple of commercial jobs. Whereas the guy we were working for at the time, he wanted us. We had a relationship built, and he liked the work that we did for him, and that was it. That was simple. The big thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm gonna again. I hate interrupting my guests, but there's just a lot there. So I'm looking at this. The unions have a terrible business model. Use us. Our labor is more expensive. And if they went directly to the end user, the customer, the high-end homeowner, whatever, and said, you must use our expensive labor, the business model would fail again.
Yes.
So they're putting the squeeze on you, the middleman, the businessman,
Yep.
and they're colluding, conspiring with the government to force it through by the force of law.
100%. Everyone that's on social or watching CBC or all the MSN, like, you can see it right now. Like, it's just Seamus O'Regan, pushing unions, because they think that that's the only way. They think that the only way to get up wages is by introducing union wages. Which is it. The fact is we looked at the business model with, and again, when I was in my meeting. They said to me, what do you have against unions? And I said, well, I said, well, I give you some examples of the companies that are no longer exist. So if things were so good, I mean, these companies would still exist and be thriving. You know what I mean? And the bottom line is they weren't even my employees, and this is what we have to keep going back to. There's a law in somewhere, because I retained a labor lawyer that knows the laws. There's a law somewhere that states that even if I had kids working on my driveway on the weekend and they get taken out for dinner by a union, I have to somehow pay some union wages or something like this, because they've unionized my company, and again they now prohibit me from even where I've marketed my company for 15 years in the high-end residential, where I've, and this, again, that was the thing. All they could say to me is, hey, if they wanted to bully me, and again, as we've spoken, that it's legal extortion. It's exactly what it is. They bullied me into signing some agreement, and then they have the nerve to say to me in the spring, hey, listen, we can start sending you some work. And I went, what work are you guys bidding on? Well, you can't bid this work if you don't have unionized guys, and if you got unionized guys, then you can bid the work. I said, not a chance. I'm not bidding that shit. I mean, you know what I mean? I said, no way. I just, again, it took me a while to get over it, and then of course now we start talking. Now I'm back into it, so I'm going to be all, I'm going to be freaking out for the next 6 months because of what they did. And again, I have buddies and we talk and speak about it all the time. They've heard my story, Payman. They've heard my story. And do you think they want to hire anybody, or hire anybody they don't know, or hire anybody from an employment agency? Not a chance. Not a chance, my friend. Not a chance. And this is why this story needs to be told. We need to push back of what they're doing to small business. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the real reason. I'd have to be in their head, but I mean, I looked at it two different ways. They either want the guys that you've trained that they can then offer to other companies that are union, or they want to bury your business. It's one or the other. It is. It's one or the other. The big thing is how dirty they do it, how illegal it looks behind your back, and exactly, and obviously the employment agency stuff. I should have, if I had a ton of money, I should have just sued the employment agency and just said, like, what are you guys doing? I didn't expect this, but I'm sure they've got some documentation that's 500 pages long, and in small print somewhere it says, if your guys or whatever, I can't believe they didn't, they have some sort of a thing that I had to provide. I just, again, it was just one of those things where I couldn't even believe. When I tell people that this happened to me, they can't believe it. So when we started speaking like last week, and earlier this week, I mean, just somebody's finally asked me to speak out about it. So I don't have any problems with whatever the questions are or whatever we're talking about.
I was actually secretly worried that one of us would get taken out by the unions before.
Oh, I couldn't care less, man. You know what? I'm telling you the truth. I've got all the documentation here. And I'm probably, after the podcast, I'll probably send you some info just on some Ontario law. And again, like I've got the letter right here. I wrote the back in December. Like, I mean, here's the letter. Like, here it is right here, like, that I wrote, and I sent it, to the Minister of Labor. All I was asking for, gently and nicely, was just an explanation of the laws, just so I could get out the word that it doesn't make sense to start a small business in Ontario if you're going to have any type of labor. Now, again, what the construction, we've heard the rumors about construction in Canada, Montreal, Toronto, big cities, all that stuff, and all the everybody. Everybody that's involved in the big, all the money that's, all the money tape, all this stuff, come on. We're talking about a small business here. We're talking about a small family-run business, finally starting to make some strides, paying taxes, paying payroll taxes. I mean, I don't want to start the violin here, but if they're going around right now between me and you talking about all these homes they're going to build. Who the hell's building these homes? And then all of a sudden they're talking about hiring union workers. Come on, are you joking me? Do you know what's going on right? Do you know what's going on right now? Honestly, do you know what's going on right now in the union halls? I know companies that are union, like labor, have labor, unionized labor, and when they call the hall, there's nobody there that they can even send. Like, nothing. So they have to use unionized labor, but there's nobody there. There's nobody there. They don't have anybody available between me and you. So could you imagine owning a business and you now have to call the union so they can supply you with some unskilled, crappy shit labor, and you can't even grow your business because you're indebted to them? Come on. Are you joking me? Like, give me a break. It's just ridiculous. Like, think about it. This is Canada. Is it not? Are you joking? As small business people, like, I mean, between me and you, like, listen, we talk about, supporting the small business through COVID and all this. Like, give me a break. They shut us all down. Like, are you kidding me? They couldn't wait to shut us all down. They wanted, Christ, the 2 weeks after the 2015, that Justin Trudeau was on the road to calling us all tax cheats. Come on. Nuts. Crazy. So anyway, now it's me and my son, my family, you know what I mean? We're just involved, just dicking around, trying to make some money and pay our taxes, and that's the way it is. And you know what? If somebody came to me with the greatest business option of all time and be involved with all the history I got in the business, I say, screw that. I don't want any involvement with any type of, there's already labor laws in place that are there to protect like your employees. Everything is there. Everything is there. I can't even say, I can't swear on a job site without somebody writing me up. Are you joking? Come on. Crazy. It's gone nuts. So anyway, I know you're just kind of smiling about it and all this stuff, but I'm telling you, it's happening to not just me. And if I need to be the voice behind the stuff, like I said, my wife and I used to say it all the time. I want to start an organization called a non-union union. And honestly, there would be no union dues, it'd be nothing, but what we're going to be doing is just sitting down, talking with guys, not shutting people's businesses down, trying to make sure that everyone gets a fair deal, you know what I mean, or whatever, if that's what it's all about. But give me a break. I mean, I'm in a seasonal business. I got kids from school and co-op students coming back. I'm trying to keep some main guys, all this other stuff, and 2 guys from an agency. They signed 2 guys from an agency. And we were paying an agency for it. We weren't paying nothing except an hourly wage to an agency. And there's a law there that protects unions from doing that. And they shut you. And basically you look at the numbers, you look at everything, you look at what you got to do. There's more travel involved. You got guys you don't know you're going to be hiring. You're supposed to train guys. Don't train guys. You're supposed to put it's not, forget it. It wasn't worth it. So we shut her down. That's it.
So before I ask my question, I'd just like to point out, you and I are using the word, business, small business, industry. We're talking about like flesh and blood people. So it's my understanding that your family, gave you a loan.
Sure.
Just, that's your family treasure, and you're trying to do something positive for the community, and your government is turning around and it's harming you.
Yeah, they're dictating to me exactly how they want me to run my business. That's exactly how it is. They think that every small business owner treats all employees wrongfully. That's my belief. They allow unions to recruit, like to do their dirty work because they're dirty. That I don't care. They're the dirtiest people. The people that go around recruiting people from a different company, and then there's laws. There's laws that say I need to follow what they say. Give me a break. Are you joking me? Bring any politician on here and anybody involved, lawyers. Come on. You know what they should do before you start a business is you say this is what you're up against. Besides the 15th of the month, the WSIB, the payroll tax, everything that you got to do, that you got to running around when you first start a business. You can't get any loans because you're in a construction business. You can't get anything from the bank because you're high risk. Totally understand. And then you're borrowing money. You're doing this. You got to run around, pick up all your deposits, all that stuff. The Friday, if you're making payroll, it's nuts. It's nuts. And then they just walk around and they just steal your employees and then make you do what they say. Like, what? Is this even? I just laugh at it because it can't be true. But that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. I've got guys, after, there's some stuff that's been said, didn't see it, but there's some pretty nasty shit going on. I'll tell you that right now. Be honest. It's crazy. The construction business in this country is corrupt. Corrupt as can be. I've been told all the time, you got to learn how to play the game, Darce. You got to learn how to play the game. Yeah. Well, I guess so.
So, Darcy, how much of this do you think factors into the housing crisis? Like, are people just checking out of the construction industry and be like, screw this, I'm peacing out?
When I hear all the news, and I don't watch a lot of news, I find it all, like, I honestly, you get the clips on Twitter, on X or whatever you call it, and you read it, and that's how you found me, is because everything is about unionized labor. Everything is about the government way. doing things the best way that the government wants, and they're building all the homes, but they're guaranteed the companies that are going to be building those homes, they're going to have unionized labor. And if you think they're building homes for a good deal or whatever it may be, it'd be triple the cost and overruns and wokeness homes and you name it. I can't believe they haven't. That's not the first name of their building. Their home building company is fucking wokeness homes. It's going to be completely. If you honestly, I know guys that are carpenters that just have they just work themselves. I know plumbers that just work themselves. I know HVAC guys that just work themselves. You obviously in our business you get to rub shoulders with all the guys around your age that have done things, and we all talk about it. We all laugh about this. These guys are so beyond out of touch with what's really going on. All they have to do is just change the laws a bit, but they couldn't do that. It would be good about it. The public, the public would say, "Oh well, they're all us guys are we're going to be charging, or we're going to be giving people less than minimum wage, working them 75 hours a week, all this. Come on. We need somebody, we need a leader, as me and you both agree, with some balls, that's just going to say it the way it is. And this is the way it is. This is another part of this country that is garbage. It's garbage. It's 100% garbage. And it shouldn't exist. They're always talking out of the side of their mouth. They're never telling the truth. Small business tax, they never pay their people good enough. Give me a break. It drives you crazy. The more I talk about it, it just drives you crazy. And just remember, let's go back to it. My company the labor was unionized by a labor's union that signed union cards with an employment agency. An employment agency. Okay, let's keep remembering what this is really all about. If my company was unionized because my guys hated working for me and they thought they needed, because we never talked about getting them benefits, or we didn't have any inside benefits that we did for our top guys, that the guys that we wanted to keep. And you have to understand, every business is different. Every business is different. And work ethic, slugging pavers, bent over, all the guys, they only have a certain amount of lifetime to them before, they have to get on with their life. You know what I mean? They can't do this for their whole life. We tried automation. We tried all kinds of different things and trying to, make their life as easy as possible through, investing in the right equipment and all that stuff and training and, all the stuff that we did, like typical small people do, or small business people do. And again, and that's typical. We're not the other side. All the guys I know love their guys, or other guys have moved on, typically either started a business to compete with them, or moved to a different city and started a business of the training that they took from what they learned from us, and they started their own businesses. That happens. We shrug our shoulders at that. That's great. These are some of the young guys that I still get Christmas cards, and they come down and visit at Christmas or whatever, and call when they're in town and they want to go out for a beer or whatever. I mean, this isn't the type of company that my wife and I ran. That we had functions and Christmas functions and summer functions and tried to keep all this stuff. But just remember, it was a union, and the laws of the provincial government, which is the progressive conservatives, they might have not even known this, because I was told from my lawyer it was a Wynne-McGuinty law, again, that they just threw in that nobody really knows about. That's what I was told. And I said, well, I certainly didn't know about it, and obviously didn't you after taking my retainer for about fucking 15 minutes worth of work. Give me a break. Well, that's the truth. It's the truth. And I'm not the only one. This is happening to a lot of people. I'm in, and so when I see what's going on in this country, and mass immigration, and they think that all these houses are going to get built. Come on, you joking me? Half of us guys are looking for a way out. That's how we talked. Seriously, sell off assets, put some money in the bank, and get out of Dodge. Seriously, because this is not the right way to be building a country. not the right way at all. And again, you might believe that. Payman, you might believe that. Your neighbor might believe that. But I think the majority of Canadians are socialist in thinking. Me and you aren't. But look at our country. Look who's voted in. Look who's propping up the government. Look at the people. We got a separatist party in Quebec. We got look at this country, man. You want Alberta and Saskatchewan want the hell out. Like, this is and northern BC. If I'm right from what I'm reading, but I'm saying, like, you think about that for a second. And I mean, the small business construction community that I rub shoulders with, trust me, we talk about this stuff. I mean, we could all be on this podcast together and I wouldn't be able to talk as much.
I want to bring together a couple of points you said. So I know a lot of guys in construction in West Vancouver because I'm an immigrant. I came from Iran. And when you don't speak the language, construction is it's almost a universal profession. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So they all did that and they were semi-successful, but then it's just the regulations have gotten soul crushing. So a lot of them have dropped out. Architects, same thing. Like, it's getting harder and harder to find independent architects or lawyers. You always have to be part of a big firm. And as it goes up, you get more of the socialist tendencies because you're getting a paycheck. You don't care about the law. Your boss deals with that. Do you notice that out east? And do you notice that in your industry? Are people, like, is it getting consolidated is what I mean, consolidated?
Oh, there's 100%. The bigger guys are, just buying up. I had a competitor, good guy, real good guy, and was bidding a lot of commercial work. He was outbidding me on commercial work and on a lot of stuff. And he just got basically, he was doing so much work for a couple of guys in the city that he just finally gave up and just said, I'm just going to go work for them and we could just do all their rinky-dink stuff, right? And that's one in particular. I've got guys that are selling their businesses to an employee or selling their land or whatever, because this is what we talk about. Constantly worried about you. That's one of the things. Not. It's one of the things that they bring up because a lot of people say, if I get unionized, I'll just burn the place down. Like, and we're not. I know you're laughing, but that is something that is said. Let's get this straight. Unions have no skin in the game. They just come and take. They come and take, and then they dictate. So what does that sound like? That's the truth. They're not. What? Because we're not following any laws. So they sneak around your back. They sign union cards. Okay, so those two guys. So they just stole those two guys away from me, and they don't go up for work. They go to the union hall, and the union finds work for them, and that's it. But why the hell is my laborer unionized then? What good does that do me? Are they picking sides? Like, what good is it? Seriously. Okay, that's fine. Oh, the guys didn't show up for work. Oh, and get a letter from you. Oh, we stole your guys. Okay, that's fine. Thanks for the training. Because it's no different than another company, so you're not paying them enough. They don't see an avenue for them to reach their goals. You're not growing fast enough. Whatever. They might not like the work, so they sign on. They sign on these cards. They're told a bunch of lies. Listen, I've heard the comments because I've talked to people that union, that went to a meeting and they tell exactly, and I've heard this story 10 times, exactly what spoke about, exactly how it works. And again, most of the guys in my business have made enough money, or again, the landscape side of things, they can't touch the agriculture part of your business. So if you cut lawns or you do plantings or you do whatever, which is kind of a summer school or a summer kind of student kind of game, you know what I mean, like that, and you don't really bid a lot of commercial work, they leave you alone. Or you just shut a lot of guys, and again, 9 out of 10 or maybe more, like it could be 99 out of 100 companies just shut down. Depending on the age, right? I know of guys that have just given up their hardscape business again and said, okay, no problem. That's unionized. Well, all those guys are gone, and I'm just going to keep my lawn cutting guys and do maintenance. You know what I mean? And snow plowing, and they don't touch that. They do. You make a deal, right? Stay away from this, and we'll do this, and you be good little boys, and do as you're told, and we'll let you make some money. You know what I mean? We'll let you keep your lawnmowers and your snowplow equipment. Well, that's what it is. That's what's said. I was in a meeting. I heard it. So, and again, it's the truth. I wouldn't be sitting there because I'd be like a marked man. Like, seriously, I couldn't. But they're all sitting at home. If anyone ever listens to this is what happens. And I said, the people that have signed union cards are probably agreeing with me. This is what happens. And then they get to the other side, and we've all heard this terminology, right? The grass is always greener, right? Yeah, sure is. Grass is greener. Those two guys never worked another day for me. I didn't call the employment agency. I said, nah, I got unionized, and see ya. We're going to finish off the project, my son and I, because they let me finish the project off, and that was it. That's how it worked. And then as of that day or whatever it was when the project was done, that's when all this stuff, all that stuff came into, you know what I mean? You can, you're doing as you're told. All the company I built and everything, now I'm being told by a union right here, this is what I had to sign, that I'm not going to bid any more work and take work away from unionized workers. Okay. Well, there you are. That's it. That's the story.
If you get me those documents, if you get me pictures of those, I'm happy to share them.
Yeah. I'll get you all kinds of stuff. Again, I was looking through all this mumbo jumbo lawyer bullshit from the province, right? And I can't blame. I'm not blaming the progressive conservative government, because they might not even know this. They may know it exists, but I reached out to the Ministry of Labor just to get an honest answer. He could have wrote back to me. I didn't know anything about this, Darcy. You know what I mean? I'm going to look into this and find out what the hell's going on. Come on. Come on. Jesus. What are we even talking about it for? They laugh at this shit. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit about my life or my wife's life or my kid's life. You know what I mean? I could just take maid tomorrow and it'd knock me out. That'd be it. But I'm just saying, this is what is going on. They are amalgamating the construction business. The big boys got all the big labor. They get all the big contracts, government contracts. And again, like we bid work before where it said, if you're not unionized, you need to pay a certain amount per hour. Hey, 100%. No problem. We did that. We did all kinds of stuff like that. And to be quite honest, my top guys made more money than me. So, you know what I mean? Like what I took out of the business, you know what I mean? The legal end, my top guys make, my wife just said all the time, you're paying your top guys more than what you make. So I had no problem going on a job site saying, this is what this guy makes, this is what this guy makes. You know what I mean? In our business, you need to be efficient, you need to be fast, you need to be skilled, right, to compete on a certain level. And you need to have, you had your top guys, you wanted to retain your top guys. Being in the seasonal business, it's tough. You go through some long winters, and it's tough to keep those guys employed. You paid those guys to plow a little snow through the winter. It could have been 200 hours. It could have been 100 hours, but you're paying them full-time wages all the way through the winter. Just to retain them come spring, you're busy again. So they don't ask you anything. They just take your company and again, the worst thing about it is, say I go broke, which I never did. Say I go broke. I can't even start a company up in this. I can't even start another company, under a different name, under my wife's name, under Ontario Limited name, whatever, all these numbered companies, whatever. I couldn't do anything for 7 years. For 7 years. And if they found out, because London's a small city, you bid a couple of jobs under this new name, they come walking around, what are you doing here? Oh, didn't work. Well, you're not allowed to be doing that. You can't do anything for 7 years. Think about it. You're in Canada. This is Canada. I'm not This is the truth. The truth. The laws. Look, I'll try to get you all the kind of stuff. Take pictures. This is the truth. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. And you know what? I don't even know the laws. Could I take my company and move to Alberta? And whatever, and then some union there calls us, hey, this guy's bidding all this commercial. Oh, this is the guy. Oh, we unionized this guy back in 2019. Oh, it's not 2029 yet, so we can't even. He's not allowed to bid any work there, because he moved. He got packed up, moved his family because he's such a whatever they call you, because you don't go about their rules. Like I said, it's legal extortion based on the paperwork, based on the laws of the land. It's legal extortion. So. Goes back to your watchers or whatever who's ever listening to this. This is one of those things where lawyers, I don't know, would ever touch something like this because there's really nothing they can do if it is legal. Could you imagine if every small construction business across this country said, "Screw this! I'm not going to get in the business. If this can happen to me, all my investment, all my worries, all my hard work." And as you know, small business guys, they're not done at noon every day. They work their freaking ass off. Ass off. 24/7. Worried about your guys, worried about the guys' families, worried about everything. Worried about your own family, providing for yourself. Worried about getting paid and the laws that protect the people that you're working for. Are you kidding? And now you got this. So you want to start a business, a construction business up? You better talk to a lawyer prior and understand exactly what your investment is. You know why the banks won't lend you any money? Take a guess. Part of the high risk is exactly that, my friend. High risk? Yeah. I remember telling my banker what happened to me. He almost shit right in front of me. Seriously, I watched him. He almost shit right in front of me. All that investment, everything. So that's what you do. You either move on and play by their rules and their game, right? And use their unskilled people that they think that can do the work that you want them to do. And trust me, I know. I work for companies. I help companies that can't get employment from the union, so to make a few extra bucks, I go work for these companies and I watch them. I watch them work. So you want to build 550 million homes this year? Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Bring it on.
So Darcy, let me recap what you said or how I interpret it, and then I'm going to hit you with a question.
Sure.
So you have unions are coming in and they're making you non-competitive. So the small businesses, they either go bankrupt or they suffer, so they sell to the big companies or get work for the big companies. So everything's getting consolidated in the big companies. All the big companies are unionized. Only the big companies are working with the government. The union is giving donations to pro-union politicians. I look at this and the one word that comes to mind is socialism. So where is the country headed? Like, what's going to happen to entrepreneurs? What's going to happen to people like you who are independent minded?
Well, first of all, when it comes to being non-profitable, I'm going to, I'll be truthful on that. I'm not saying that you're going to be non-profitable because you have union labor. That's not because you're bidding work to be profitable. You have costs, right? And you try to get it done in a certain amount of time, so you make a certain amount of money. It's really simple. So if your labor costs so much and your materials cost so much and your overhead costs so much and you got a little bit at the end that you pay taxes on, I'm not saying that you're unprofitable because you have but it's less competitive. So you just kind of answered your own question by saying that socialism is real in Canada. I know there's going to be people that say, because they are socialists, so they don't think there's socialism. They think that there's an ice cream place down one side of the street, and then you can go down and get another ice cream down the other side of the street, and they think it's competition. They don't, you know what I mean? Then they go home and they have no money left at the end of the month, and they go, we shouldn't have, maybe it's that one ice cream place we're going to that, it's taking an extra 35 cents per scoop. I don't know. Or maybe, because they have to pay 35 cents more for that, and they use union employees to scoop your ice cream. I don't know. But people that get in the business just know they know their costs. So our business was built on a different, because we were built, we were doing high-end residential, but we were also doing commercial work because we had buddies in the system, buddies in sales, buddies as estimators for bigger companies. And this one company I was working for at the time were friends of mine. I still to this day, I rent my building from them. And he's the one that said to me, like, I don't know if they knew I was going to get unionized, they probably would have told me. And the funny thing was we joked about it a couple of times, that if I ever get unionized working for you, I better have an office downstairs in there as an estimator or something. You got to, because I'm shutting everything down, I'm coming to work for you, right? And we kind of laughed about it, and here we are. But because I was working for him and working with his unionized employees, all great guys. Like I have nothing against the people. Like honestly, I don't. Most of them join unions to get a pension and to pay into something that they wouldn't get with small businesses. You know what I mean? They could have been with those small businesses at the wrong time. And, they were still growing and growing and growing. So they weren't able to, feed that hourly wage as much as they want. I used to get home all the time, every week. And I used to, when my wife did all the T4s and the accountant did all the T4s, I used to take a look at everyone, how much money they make. And, this guy's got a family. We got to find a way to get them more money. We got to find a way. We got to charge a little bit more. We got to be a little bit more efficient. The guys that they're working with need to be trained better. All that stuff. That's what business people do. But you're right to say that this has been, I think, part of the plan, where they're just making everything so, listen, I see it, so difficult on the small business to get funding, to get, to worry about their employees. When you start a small business, you either have a lot of money that you're willing to risk and work your ass off, or you try to get by from job to job and keep money in the business, and you're trying to pay your guys, whatever it may be. But that's the problem. And I'm not saying in a free country unions can do what they want, but they shouldn't. In a free country, if there's unions involved, and again, their priority originally were to look at these big companies and have a voice for all the people that worked, for these big companies. Now they're just stealing guys, and the laws. Again, if they just came and stole the guys, no big deal. No big deal. And unionize those two guys. But why did they steal the guys? And all of a sudden I have to play by their rules now. Because what? Because they were working, like, again, let's remind everyone that's going to watch this, or yourself, or your dad, and all that stuff. It was an employment agency I was using. And between me and you, there's a lot of people that have said, do you think the employment agency is kind of involved with the union? I don't know. I hope not. But I don't know. They've been known to do some crazy things. But again, I have no reason for there's different businesses, there's seasonal businesses, small business. Everybody's different. Everybody runs their business differently. Everyone pays their people differently. Everyone has different things. There shouldn't be any laws in this nation across the country. I don't care if it's the East Coast, West Coast, the great provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and the people that live there. I've never, if it needs to be very, 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 very out front. If you're going to start a business, this is a real reality that can happen to your business. You could have turned the corner and they wipe you clean. And you can continue on and do your shit. That's fine, as long as you're bidding the type of work. So London is about an hour and a half away, 2 hours away from Toronto. And that's where a lot of this ICI, Ellis Don, PCI, all the big bird construction, the big companies work. And they demand you use union labor. No problem. I didn't bid any of that stuff. I didn't bid any of it. You know what I mean? And again, you can have a London company, and I'm going to be honest with you. You can have a London company. Union labor wages in London are different than what they are to union laborers in Toronto. Obviously, because the union's looking out for their brotherhood. In Toronto, you need to make more money in Toronto, right? But I know guys that have union labor in London, then they use the union labor in London to work in Toronto. Is that fair? I'm just saying. That's what's going on. That's what's going on, man. That's what's going on. So the world, or the country as we know it, is going down and it should just be, you want to start a small business? Well, these are the labor laws that you should really know about. And you should be told that before you start a business. How many people are going to start a business? How many people are going to, I'm talking about the craziest entrepreneurs and whatever, you name it. Who's going to start a business? Would a lawyer even start a business if he knew that all the lawyers that work on all the partners that could all unionize? And look what's going on right now in NCAA. I just read that this morning. I was laughing. I was thinking of you today because I know we were going to get together. And I said, yeah, Nick Saban was going like there's some NCAA wants to unionize their football players. They're in college. They're in college. They're playing college football, and a union wants to unionize because the college makes a whole bunch of money in the States. So it's not just in Canada. Like, this is seriously happening. Unions, when they get big and they got big money and they got big lawyers, like, do you think I could go to court with the labor, like a laborers union lawyer? Seriously, I'd lose the house. I'd be living in my trailer. Are you kidding me? Like, did I want to? Yeah. Would have been great. Would have been great, because I just said to the judge, does this seem fair? Well, the law's the law. Well, okay, if the law's the law, the laws need to change. So, okay, contact the Ministry of Labor, sent them that letter that I'm going to send to you. And do you think he got back to me? I'm a constituent. I've actually voted for his party. And apparently he's a pretty good guy, because he's a friend of a friend. And apparently his family's awesome. So, just want an answer. Does this seem fair to you? Does this seem fair? Like, and again, and you'll read the letter that I wrote to him, that I sent it back to him, sent it back because it's been a couple of weeks just seeing, because it was email, just seeing if you've read my letter and you've got any updates, or if you're getting me any answers or whatever. Nothing. Zero. I even stated the fact on the letter, which you'll read, that, I said, I'm a conservative voter. I'm a PC, I've been voting since I was 18. I've been a conservative because, I was a little bit of reform there for a while there. But I mean, I stayed with the Conservative Party, blah, 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 blah. And hence why I wanted Max to win the Conservative. And when he didn't, and when he started the PPC, I became a PPCer because I believe in Max policies. And I know why he left. Because it's laws that are doing this stuff, like, I'll be honest, just make it simple. You want to start a small business? These are the laws. They're going to protect the people that you hire on top of it. So, and between me and you, payment, who would start a business? Who would start a business knowing that it'd be like you're starting a business, you take all you invest all this money and the bank helps you out and you get going, you get all this stuff, and the bank just comes and says, we're going to close your accounts and we're just going to put you out of business. Like, I don't know. Every company has a different like a path forward. They run their businesses. Everybody's different. Everyone takes, you might be happy working 75 hours a week, making $50,000 a year and paying, $15,000 in taxes. Or, most entrepreneurs want some financial freedom in their life. They're going to work their ass off for 30 years, hopefully build something that's sellable and make some money and still have their health when it's all said and done. Well, this is like a mental health disturbance, And again, I see it. It's not just me. There's other guys in this city that, were doing really good, bidding work against me, doing really good. And all of a sudden, I used to get calls from people saying, hey, just to let you know, hey, you're on the blacklist. Yeah, let them. I knew my guys would come to me, like my top guys would come to me and say, hey, listen, these guys are just showed up on site, blah, blah, blah. No, they go to the weak link and go to get the guys that were on the, the employment agency guys. So there you are. So that's the story.
So, Mr. DeCaluwe, I have one final question. As a country, where do we go from here? How do we take our country back?
Truth, man. There's too many lies out there right now. There's too many lies. There's too many people that think different things, and because there's too many lies. People don't know what to believe because there's so many lies. It's so corrupt. Everyone's protecting their own investments somehow or whatever it may be. But it's always been the truth. And this is that's why I'm not afraid to speak up. And we can't, nobody knows what to believe anymore. And this is all by design. It's all by design. Back in the day in Canada, our old foundation policies was Max's policies. That was the foundation of this country. Was those policies that Max's. You get back to those policies, the lies will be gone, because it's open freedom for everyone. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, brown, girl, guy, whatever, trans. I don't care. I don't care, man. Those policies are all for everybody. And you got a prime minister, you have official opposition. They're getting their orders from somewhere else, man. I don't know what it is. And they're just, the front page of the Free Press, the London Free Press this morning, was some lady standing in an open land, a whole bunch of 55 acres behind her or whatever it was in it. It's scheduled for. I didn't even have to read any further because I knew she was a NIMBY, not in my backyard kind of thing. Again, one of the good builders in our city, has been asked. Obviously, they've probably been contacted by a politician and said, what's it going to take to move these projects along or whatever. I'm sure that's the way it worked. And again, great builder, really, really good, honest builder in the city. And again, it's just people are saying, well, we don't want townhouses and dense apartments and dense this and dense that. And yeah, because people are starting to wake up, starting to realize what's going to move back. This isn't about affordability. These places are not going to be affordable. They're not going to be affordable at all. They're still not affordable. It doesn't matter how many houses they build. You need, what you need? You need 1 million houses sitting there not being used to drive the price down of everything else. That's what they think, that they're going to catch up. They're never going to get there. Because as we both know, not that we're against it. My grandfather moved here. He was an immigrant. My dad was 9 years old. I don't. Nobody cares. You come to the country, you contribute like you and your father, and my grandfather did. Small business. I guarantee his small business that turned into a big business didn't have these laws. I can guarantee you. If he was still alive today and I told him what happened to me, he would have given me the money, because he had a lot more money than I did. And he says, "You're going to fight the shit out of this, because this isn't wrong. This is wrong." He used to tell me back when back in the 80s or in the 90s that this place was going nuts. And that's in the 90s. That's 35, 40 years ago. He was telling me this is crazy. And now it's, and this kind of shit happened to me. And until the truth comes out, The real truth, none of this around the edges truth. Real, just have the balls to come out and say it, like Max is saying it. This is it. This is the problem. This is the problem. You're not going to change. You got lawyers, you got judges, you got everyone. It's all in line of whatever that line may be, and everyone has different opinions of where we're heading. The writing's on the wall, and that's why for me and you and your dad and my family and friends of mine, I've got one of my good friends, HVAC guy. I'm not going to get into his name and all that stuff. That's the truth. This is me telling you the truth. He's married, been building his business. His dad was a factory worker here. His dad was a factory worker here in Ingersoll, from and a Polish background, and he's moving to Florida. He's selling his business and moving to Florida. He's had it. And the number one reason, he just looks at taxes as corruption, right? And then because he works so hard and he keeps so little, right? And again, like we always say, all we're doing, and if you don't say this to yourself, we're all making everyone else rich. We're making Rogers rich, Bell rich. We're making the big guys rich, and we're just kind of, gotta try and find that ice cream stand for 35 cents less a scoop. Like we just are looking at ways of just trying to make it. If you don't see the writing on the wall here and what's going on in this country, they're trying hard to shut down small business. They did it openly, right in front of you. People are going to say, it's because COVID, and it was easier to control, and the big app, all this stuff, and the big guys had the big. It's all a slice of cake to me. It's all bullshit. So, again, 2 weeks after the Sonny Ways prime minister was elected, he called all small business tax sheets. It's look it up. Look it up on YouTube. It's there. He called us all tax sheets. So there was already an agenda when he wanted to make the lifetime. He talks about small business tax cuts. He hasn't cut taxes in this. He hasn't cut taxes for small business since 2015. The only guy that was doing it was Harper. In my tenure, anyway. I'm being honest. That's it. There's no tax cuts. They talk about it. That's all we did was pay taxes. We pay personal taxes on the income we take out of our small business, and when the company is doing well, when the company was doing well, we paid corporate taxes. And yeah, is the corporate tax is smaller than the income taxes you paid? Yeah, but you still paid double duty, which is fine. My grandfather used to say to me all the time, you should be lucky to pay $100,000 a year in taxes. You should be lucky in this great country. That's what he used to say to me. But this was not the country he moved to. This is not the country that he, we had this talk about your dad. This is not the country that is being talked about around the world. It's not. Because these are real stories and happening to real small business people. They're hardworking entrepreneurs risking everything. Again, their number one reason is, and I say this to everybody, I jokingly, the reason I got in the business is so I could go home and have a shit when I want. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I say to everybody, because there's no benefit anymore. There is no benefit because there's no financial freedom. There's no financial freedom. When we, just like you work hard, you pay $250,000, you work for a company that pays you $250,000. I work for my company, and if I worked hard enough and if it was able to pay me $250,000, well, I pay the same taxes you do. I don't get some cut. I pay the exact same taxes you do. And then on top of it, I pay taxes on the corporate money that's left. Obviously, if I'm paying myself $250,000 and the company makes, after everything's all the write downs and everything else, and we get this and we get that, and we had fuel and all this stuff, and it makes $100,000, well, you pay 25% on that tax, federally and provincially. So what's the point? So you have taxes on your $250,000 and 25% on the corporate profits. That's what you do. Well, the union took that away. And that if the government realized that the unions are all these guys, and this guy was, and the unions took away the tax grab that I was paying to the government, well, then maybe they'd have a different opinion of allowing these guys to recruit small business labor, right? That's the way I always look at it, right? You want to send your last tax returns prior to this happening and saying, well, this is all gone for you. You're not getting this anymore. Right? Truth.
Right. No, I agree with you. And Mr. DeCaluwe, we've reached the end of the show. I'm going to hold you over until afterwards, but like I said at the beginning, I honestly wanted to thank you for coming out. Not everybody has the courage to speak out. A lot of people want somebody else like you to fix the problems to come out. So on behalf of everyone in British Columbia, thank you very much, sir.
Hey, no problem. Happy to be here. Thanks.